Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, Hotep. Peace, peace, family. Peace to the streets. I'm your brother in the struggle, Brother Minister Alifullah. And today we're going to cover or decipher and decipher a little bit of FOI military clarification, if you will. I was in the studio going through some old files, and I found an old manuscript that I did like 30 years ago called Deep Blackness, Secrets of Militant Consciousness. Secret Thoughts. Well, this is the shout out to Brother Assistant Minister Joshua Sadiallah AZ. He's the one that designed the cover for me. But it's Deep Blackness, Secret Thoughts of Militant Consciousness by Alifullah. And basically, this is a like all types of, you could say, like military training stuff. You know what I mean? Offense and defense. But today we want to come from page 49 to 51. Just going to cover page 49, 50, and 51 here. We're going to cover 3 pages as it relates to mustaches and why the FOI and the Nation of Islam do not wear beards or mustaches or hair on our faces. When you study ancient Kemet or Black Egypt, you find that that culture, when it came to the gods, even the goddesses, they had what they call purification rituals. And part of that, because of their environment, you got lice, you in the desert and things of that nature, their heat. Now, I mean, they would shave. Now, I mean, you know, hair carries germs and filth. Now, I mean, you know, it's like a man, for example, when we grow hair under our arms, around our pubic area, say you've been washing your body and using deodorant for 50 years and you never shaved that hair. Soap and deodorant can't be fully removed by water. So you got this chemical residue building up on your body for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 or more years. Now, I mean, sometimes it could become cancerous, sad to say. But Messenger Elijah Muhammad, he, using the wisdom of Master Muhammad, gave us some military precepts and divine instructions regarding hair. And we're going to cover some of the instructions. This was actually to some FOI that we was teaching and training in the East Point Academy back in the day. So, FOI military, no mustaches allowed. I open up with a quote from Messenger Elijah Muhammad from the Holy Message to the Black Man in America from 1965. If you had a book, you could turn to page 192 to see this quote. This is the premise. You must. He used mandatory language. There is passive language and mandatory. When a judge says must, shall, or if someone says you may or should, may and should is not mandatory language. In the FOI military, must is mandatory instructions from the first, last, and only messenger of Allah, as we say, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You must shave yourselves and look like men. By Messenger Elijah Muhammad, the Holy Message to the Black Man in America, page 192, 1965. If Master Fard Muhammad did not wear a beard or mustache, and if Messenger Elijah Muhammad did not wear a beard or mustache, then why are you wearing a beard or mustache? Real FOI, Fruit of Islam, follow the Sunnah or way or tradition or culture of the rule of law and his real messenger to the so-called African Americans. In his argument against beards, Messenger Elijah Muhammad explained that they were, quote, germ catchers. Hair holds filth, pollution, and fungus. Originally, black men did not grow hair on their faces. We originally were from a warm climate, Africa, or what we may call worldwide Asia. Some tribes began to spread out and naturally mutate. Eventually, the one original tribe known as Shabazz, or the godly or godlike, was driven into 13 different branches, or 13 tribes of Shabazz. 66 trillion years ago, of course, we lost one. We now have 12 tribes of Shabazz on the earth today. Today, there are thousands of tribes all over the world. Some wear dreadlocks, braids, afros, bushes, bald heads, tapes, beards, mustache, clean shaves, etc., etc., etc. We claim to be student followers of Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings. We should look like FOI, fruit of Islam. FOI do not wear long hair on their heads or faces. You should be able to recognize a FOI upon sight. We are taught that actions are judged according to an FOI's intentions or niyat, but real FOI do not make unnecessary excuses either. Some FOI have to let their hair grow in for a moment due to health reasons, skin problems, or the like, but as soon as he can, he should shave. Let me pause here for a moment. Now, when I became an FOI, my captains were very militant alpha males, gods. And I'll never forget, they had different personalities. Now, I mean, like I remember so many incidents, but I remember sitting down with General Nasheed and Nasheed-Allah, Robert X, and he we at the table, so we eating, and there's beets on the tray. So the beets is alien to me. I grew up in a household, I never in my life seen a lot of stuff. My mother made black eyed peas, collard greens, corn, traditional ghetto food, but certain stuff she just never brought into the house. Like, we didn't eat succotash, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, it was like, I looked at certain foods like, oh, that's white people food. Oh, that's old people's food. Once I read How to Live, I got a better understanding on nutrition. But in my ignorance, I'm sitting at the table, and Nasheed sees me, and he like, brother, you gonna eat them beets? I was like, oh, no, I don't eat beets. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what they was. I thought beets. When he asked me, he said, why you don't eat beets? I said, ain't that some blood? Like, oh, that's raw meat, ain't it? He was like, no, that's raw. Beets ain't meat. That's vegetables. That they good for you. I was like, I thought that was like bloody hearts or something like that. I used to see people with that stuff on the joint. They eating it, but I was like, I'm not eating that. I'm the type, like, I never in my life ate. It wasn't for religious reasons. I never ate pig feet because I just was like, I don't eat feet, pig feet. Nah, I'm good. I never ate liver. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Just certain things. You know what I mean? So he told me, he was like, brother, you're a death angel now. You know what I mean? And if we go to war, you might have to eat the enemy's heart. Now, I mean, you ready to eat this heart or what? I ate all the beets. I mean, death angel. You know what I mean? That's my mentor. You know what I mean? Peer pressure. He pumped me all up. So we go back on the block, and I see Captain Aziz. I mean, Vernon X. So he like, little brother, I got a special treat for you. Like, what's up? He's like, come on. So now this is like 1983 sometime. This is back in the day. Back then, we had the old-fashioned metal razors that you got to unscrew from the bottom, and you put the double-edged Gillette blade in there, and you tighten it up, and you use that to shave with. So he got me like, I got the towel on the jaw, so he gonna shave my head bald. So he shaved my head. So he talking to me, yeah, little bubble. Nah, I mean, you gonna be a good one. So I'm like, listen, talking, we busted up, whatever. Then I happen to open my eyes and look in the sink, and I see all this blood in the sink. Now, remember, I just ate all these beets this morning. Now I got all this blood. I'm like, yo, what the heck? I'm like, yo, it's holes all over my head because he's heavy-handed. He's a big guy. So I'm like, yo, man, I'm bleeding. Little brother, it's good to bleed sometimes. I mean, so this is the type of training, you know, we had to go under as supreme angels. Now, I mean, so it was a real thing to me about shaving. So I'm wearing a bald head. Now I'm still a teenager at the time. I'm like 18, 19. So I got to keep my head bald, but I don't know how to use a razor. So they gave me some, I don't know, the young people won't understand this. The old heads know what I'm talking about. The old-fashioned magic shave. Now, those of you that use magic shave know there's nothing magic about magic shave back in the day. It was, in my memory, it was two main kinds. They had the blue can that smelled like poop, and then they had the red can that had fragrance. So I'm putting this magic shave on my head. Now, keep in mind, I had a razor on it. Now I'm putting magic shave on top of scabs, basically. So now, when I wipe my head off and I don't really grow hair on my face. At that time, I didn't even grow hair on my face. I just had a little peach fuzz. And my thing was, I always wanted to shave because I wanted to grow in. I mean, and, you know, I took and put the magic shave all on my jaw. And my head used to be like a light bulb, glowing like a diamond. Now, I mean, we love them bald heads, supreme beings. Now, I mean, but then that joint started healing up, and the hair start coming in. And now, you know, for me being black, I'm putting magic shave on my face when I really don't have nothing but peach fuzz. So now I'm putting holes literally, and that's why my skin like this. I'm literally burning holes into my skin. The condition gets so bad, it hurt if I touch my head. If I lay my head on a pillow, it hurt. I literally was in physical pain with basically infection. I mean, so I eventually had to get medical treatment because some type of scab formed on my whole entire head. And my face was so messed up. I got keloids. I got like ingrown little hairs all in my joint that put like blisters start coming on my joint. So the dermatologist like, yo, what is you using? I'm like, I'm using magic shave. It's like, nah, you can't. I mean, put that stuff, chemicals. Don't put this lie. Don't put that stuff on your head, on your face. Know what I mean? And I had serious shaving problems from day one in the Nation of Islam. Know what I mean? You know, but as a loyal soldier, my thing is like, man, I'm shaving. I mean, fruit is best. Now, I mean, we put to the test time after time. We made up our mind. It could be no peace to the move of the beast. It's a lost out of suicide. I'm still, I mean, tearing my stuff up. And then the elder Supreme Angel, Russell 5X Vance, he looked at me like, brother, what is you doing to your head and face? Like, oh, that come from shaving. I mean, be having an allergy. He's like, nah, little brother. I mean, he's like, your head can't take that stuff. Don't put that stuff. You got to use a razor. So I'm like, razors break me out. He's like, listen, I was in the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? He used to be the guy that fly the helicopters. You know what I mean? They get him the 50 caliber machine guns in the Marines. So he's a well-seasoned, decorated war hero, really. Know what I mean? So he explained, he said, this is what we used to do. We used to turn, it's like calluses on your skin. We used to turn the skin into like leather. And he's like, what you got to do, you got to shave every day. You know what I mean? And I would literally shave every day before the hair could grow into a ingrown hair. And that really kind of worked for a while, but then eventually the skin starts growing on top of it, and you start getting this dark shadow, and the hairs get up underneath there. And I ain't know how to take tweezers or a needle or something and take them ingrown hairs out. I learned that years later. You know what I mean? So it got so bad, they gave me this little bottle of strong alcohol solution. You had to break the little tab and you rub that on it, and it dries it all up. And that helped. But I found out that it's real cancerous. I stopped using that stuff. Know what I mean? So for going on 40 years now, I've been having problems with shave. I shave so much that I really don't even have shaving problems no more. Cause I probably didn't, I don't know, I didn't calcify these hair follicles. You know what I mean? So when it comes to shaving, I had a deep personal experience with this stuff. You know what I mean? And as I grew in the ranks and went through the ranks, you know what I mean, in the military, eventually became lieutenant, whatever, captains, what have you. I'm in the military where my job now is to help other brothers. You know what I mean? I came across something from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And this is why I love the messenger's message that guides us through this age of mess. The restricted laws teaches us, do not commit acts of violence on yourself. Our 24 principles teach us a Muslim uses good judgment, discretion at all times. Know what I mean? So when I start looking at the Lamb's teachings, it's like making sense to me. Like, oh, okay. I mean, he teaches us balance. So I don't judge a brother that may have hair on his face. Some people be like, I didn't actually had to tell brothers stop shaving. I seen brothers literally harming themselves. Now I've been there, done that. Yo, it's not that serious. Look, in fact, we structured it where brothers could literally, because some brothers, what we found is if you let it grow out and you take the barber clippers and you cut it with the clippers and you clean it, you know what I mean, you get some the blue cleaning stuff when they do your hair. I forgot the name of it. It's like aqua something, you know what I mean? But it's like a disinfectant. Now, I mean, you put that on it, it don't break your face out that bad. So I know, but the only thing is you just got to keep shaving more often. And eventually was able to get electric clippers, and electric clippers with the little pop-up trimmer on it. And some people was even able to use the rotary. I couldn't use the rotary stuff, but I could use the clip-up part. And that worked pretty good. But now I could just take a little disposable razor, just put some cream on there, whatever, and I'm good to go. Know what I mean? So I don't want you to misinterpret my niyat or intent in reading this military directive, because it has an important point and it has spiritual precepts that cover the nation of Islam as taught by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. All right, so let us continue. We claim to be student followers of Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings. We should look like FOI. FOI do not wear long hair on their heads or faces. We should be able to recognize the FOI upon sight. We are taught that actions are judged according to an FOI's intentions. But real FOI do not make unnecessary excuses either. Some FOI have to let their hair grow in for a moment due to health reasons, skin problems, or the like. But as soon as he can, he should shave. It is easy to recognize an FOI because we look like Allah and his last messenger. We do not intentionally wear beards or mustaches. Some weak, grafted, confused FOI argue that the messenger's son, Imam Warfdeen Muhammad, or Wallace D., Supreme Captain Raymond Sharif, and the National Secretary Abbas all used to wear hair on their faces or mustaches. So as a minister, some FOI just like, what you talking about, bro? We could wear, look, I mean, the messenger's son got a mustache. Bass Rasul, the Supreme Secretary, the Supreme Captain, he just charged him. He wears a mustache. I was like, yes, but are you following a student of the messenger's teachings? Or are you following the messenger's teachings as taught by Allah who came to person Master Muhammad? If you're following his students over the commands of the commander, then you have to analyze, deputize, and scrutinize yourself militarily, okay? Yes, and they all used to be FOI. See, you got to understand Abbas Rasul and Supreme Captain Raym Sharif and Imam Mufti Muhammad, they went through different transitions with Wallace and, in the fall of the Nation of Islam and all that kind of stuff. None of them outranked the first, last, and only messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So real FOI do not follow the messenger's ministers, captains, and secretaries. They follow the messenger's message to get out of the age of mess. I used to say that 30, 40 years ago. Messenger Elijah Muhammad pointed out that one of the first things Malcolm did when he defected from the Nation of Islam was grow hair on his face. He grew a goatee, the resemblance to the beard of a he-goat, a small, trim, pointed, or tough beard on a male's chin. The goatee spiritually is a sign of the goat or a rebellious person. Today, every national figure who wore hair on their faces became rebels against Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Like most black men, I have shaving problems and grown hairs, so I could make an excuse as to why I should wear a beard. But with proper care, a soldier learns how to meet and overcome such small obstacles. So I have to meet the FOI status. In the past, I functioned in various FOI military posts prior to becoming a minister, and I noticed in FOI basic training, when you find FOI that will not cut their beards or mustaches, you can forget about them cutting anything else. If he will not cut during times of peace, should we expect him to cut during times of war? Messenger Elijah Muhammad said, this message is not for the cowards. FOI is never the aggressor, but the real FOI are not cowards either. The FOI is the name given to the military training of the men that belong to Islam in North America. This is a military nation ran by solid soldiers. Messenger Elijah Muhammad explained, this is the qualifier from the messenger. He said, if we must wear a mustache, it should be a bicycle rim mustache, a tiny thin ring of hair above the lip. That is the mercy of Allah and his messenger upon the weak and rebellious ones. Some FOI wear mustaches because they must stash their light. Some brothers are afraid of the devils, do not want the devil to know that they are FOI. They worry about what the master will say, especially in the belly of the beast. FOI wear mustaches because they want to sneak and do dirt. So they wear dirt on their faces to blend in with the 85%ers, mentally dead, but neither a white natural or black unnatural devil can fool a Muslim. Not nowadays. We expect and respect the Orthodox Muslims for wearing hair on their faces because they follow their sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, thoughts of peace be upon all the prophets of Allah. But FOI do not wear beards because we follow the teachings of the last messenger or Rasul and not the last prophet or Nabi. We do not need beards in the West where it is cold at. Unlike the desert of Arabia, we get snowstorms up to our knees, chests, and heads in America. We would need a beard in the hot desert of Arabia to prevent the sand from cutting our faces. Messenger Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth, 2,679,785 miles in circumference, 850,000 miles in diameter, 426,500 miles in radius. Light travels 186,000 miles per second, so it takes sunlight 8 minutes and 20 seconds or 500 seconds to reach Earth. The sun is 14,072 degrees hot on the surface. Since the cipher or circle of the sun is 2,679,785 miles and the cipher of the Earth is only 24,896 miles, the sun is 108 times larger than the planet Earth. These mathematics have been actual facts for the past 78 trillion years. But even the Orthodox Muslims believe shaving their heads bald is a sign of purification. Surely Allah loves those who purify themselves. The spiritual advancement of what's called Imram represents the severance of all material connections for the love of Allah, the God. The shaving of the pilgrim's head is a sign that he's getting out of the state of purification. And shave not, the Holy Quran says in chapter or Surah 2, ayat 196, and shave not your heads until the offering reaches its destination. The Holy Quran then goes on to explain in Surah or chapter 48, ayat or verse number 27, you shall certainly enter the sacred mosque, if Allah please, in security, your head shaved and hair cut short, not fearing. Allah says every nation has its own customs and messenger. 1,200 years before this Quranic injunction, shaving was already a sign of purity. In the Torah, on the Old Testament of your Bible, if you look in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 5, verse 1, it says, and thou, son of man, take thee a sharp knife, take thee a barber's razor, and cause it to pass upon thy head and upon thy beard. Bible, Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 1. The ancient black high priests of Kemet, or Egypt, or Black Egypt, used to shave their heads, faces, underarms, private areas for purification. This science of shaving was adopted by many cultures. The white race fell from civilization. Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabazz taught them to shave. But once they were locked down in the caves and hillsides of Europe for 1,999 and a half years, they lost this science. Messenger Elijah Muhammad said they became hairy. The mulatto or half-black, half-white prophet Musa Moses retaught them the science of shaving. Today, if they go for a job interview, they will cut their long hair and shave their faces as a sign of intelligence, hygiene, and civilization. When a man is a so-called bum, he will not shave or groom himself. The FOI taught to be clean within and without. We also keep our living quarters clean. Cleanliness is godliness. The messenger says in the Holy Message to the Black Man in America on page number 192 in 1965 the following. If you are not able to have your hair trimmed at the barber shop, you should take turns and trim each other's hair. You must shave yourselves and look like men. By Messenger Elijah Muhammad. The true believers believe as Allah and his messenger believes. Our Shariat, or restricted laws of Islam, says, quote, restricted law of Islam number 1, obey Allah, his apostle, and believe the message he has sent to you and me by his messenger. In the devil's military, Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines, they do not even ask their new recruits. They just sit them down and cut off all their hair on their faces and heads. They militarily have the world on lock right now. For now, smile. Let the real FOI shine like the stars of our galaxy. Let us be witnesses that Allah and his last messenger did not fail. The messenger teaches us in our FOI training rules number 6 the following quote. All FOI personnel must have close haircuts, close shaves at all times. Assalamu alaikum. The struggle continues. Remember, only the messenger's message can guide you through this age of mess. Peace.